good.
I mean, the weather is beautiful over there. You are lucky.
Yeah, it's nice now. We have maybe 20 degrees and it's sunny, not very windy. And I'm actually now summer house. I wanted to share some sceneries. I'm in the middle of the Baltic Sea, in the
Wow.
coastline of Finland, 20 kilometers from Turku. But basically the Swedish ferries pass from here, and this is our summer house. In the back you can see a little sauna building as well.
Yes.
So this is the summer paradise where I usually spend my summers.
Yes, it is a paradise for sure. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get started. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
My name is Altan Demirkaya. I'm a manager of global travel and a director at SKAL Vancouver. Welcome to the Tourism Talks, where we will talk to industry leaders across the globe about the coronavirus, the future of travel and tourism, and some of their own personal experiences through this crisis. Today, I'm very excited and thrilled to introduce my guest, an industry leader, senior lecturer of Turku University of Applied Sciences, and 2017 to 18 World SKAL President, Susanna Saari. Susanna is joining us live from Turku, Finland. It's great to see you, Susanna. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Great to see you too. Great to see you too, and I can see so many familiar faces joining us, even from Australia. Well done, guys.
That's amazing. Thank you to everybody for joining us. You know, Susanna, last time I was calculating the days that we have gone through this.
Pardon?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I noticed that it's been almost 100 days with this crisis. It is a long time. And so how are you holding up? How are you managing through this crisis personally? I can see that you are having a good time.
Yeah. Well, yes. A couple of more weeks, and it's summer holiday here in Finland. Of course, in this northern part of Europe, our summer is more like June, July, and then in the Central European cities and countries, it's more August. So here we have a couple of more weeks, and then it's midsummer. But I like you said, it's been a tough spring. We have been since Corona hit Finland, we have been working online, distance from homes, and we were not allowed to even enter our campus areas, which meant that everything was switched online immediately almost. And I have to say that we did good. We have managed very well, but that's mainly because we have been equipped to do this. We do a lot of online teaching in any case. So it was just sort of tweaking. Obviously, some of the projects and some things that we were supposed to do with the tourism industry, for example, hands-on, had to be digital. So that sort of changed. But yeah, the first couple of weeks were quite nice. You know, you are at home. It's a bit more leisurely. But then it starts getting a bit boring, and you start valuing going to the office as well. And you start missing seeing people live, you know? That's
Exactly.
the toughest part, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm having lots of virtual meetings. And to be honest, I'm really missing in-person meetings. I think that cannot be replaced. So as you said, due to health restrictions, classes are now being taught online, and often through video apps or other channels. And so teachers can have face-to-face lessons with their students. So what do you think on how this crisis impacted the tourism and hospitality education? So going into the details.
Yeah, I think when you look at especially tourism and hospitality education, well, this is something that we actually would have to learn. We have been teaching and preaching about virtual meetings for quite some time, but I don't think that has really always happened. You know, like we like to think that things are becoming more and more virtual, but they hadn't. So now we were forced to really look into that, and like I said, we were well equipped in the applied science sector, and in Finland, I think in overall the university sector is quite competent in this online pedagogy, and we have virtual learning environments. You don't even have to always use Teams or Zoom. I mean, of course, if you want to see people, but just for teaching purposes, we have many applications. Maybe the secondary level, like vocational level, where they really teach like chefs and waiters and people who are really hands-on hospitality. That was very tough because obviously you have to use your hands to be able to learn things. So I think they were more challenged than us because we look at more managerial level things. So it's quite easy to give projects and ask students to do digital things, study things on their own or in small groups even. We were actually happy to do a project for one of the visit.coms here in the area. We were supposed to go to the islands to meet with the actual hospitality and tourism companies and do some development work for them in smaller teams. But since Corona came, we were unable to travel. And so everything was done online. But once the teams presented their outcomes, I was actually, as a teacher, I have to say, I was amazed. I was not expecting the high level, the quality of work that came out, and sort of shame to say, but because of this challenge of not being able to actually really talk to the entrepreneurs and see their products, and experience firsthand how they are. So the company, the visit.com company who was the one giving us this brief, they were really happy and got so many new ideas. But in a way, when you work online, you are like a tourist. When you have to look at things like from the website, from Instagram, that's how you for example, if you as a Canadian would be visiting this area, that would be how you would do your research. Looking at at where to go, where to stay, how to travel to places, which services you would prefer to select. So this was actually what they had to do. And based on what they saw, they had to give their development ideas. So I think we managed very well. But of course, if we had to do this all the time, then it would, we really would have to figure the whole thing in a different way, because it does require a lot of work also when you are online. And those people who really do the hands-on, things, that is impossible. You have to be able to do the chefing in the kitchen. You have to be able to do the waitering or bartendering, with the real clients. And so for them, it was a real challenge, I think.
Yes, this has been tough for especially our industry, travel and tourism industry.
Yeah.
And I know that students are having challenges now with their practicum placements, internships, and
unfortunately, yes,
they are trying to adapt online classes, which is different than usual. And as you said, travel is all about connection. And as human beings, we want connections. And as we cannot travel, it's been tough, of course. And as you said, and I'm amazed with the initiatives that your university and you are taking, and that's I think a great example to the world. And I'm also glad that it wasn't really challenging for you and for your students to switch to online education, as you have been doing this for a long time. So in terms of our industry, I would like to get your view on how the future will look like after all of this in terms of our industry.
If I had a crystal ball, or if I had a sort of a real answer to this, I think I would be a millionaire at the moment. So many people are asking this question, and I have been actually sitting in several webinars, some from Canada, some from US, some from Europe, some from Finland, listening to all types of researchers and futurologists and people who try to predict what's coming up. And nobody obviously has the right, maybe the right answer, or it's just being guessing. But I would hope first of all, our industry is very resilient, so
Yes.
so we will definitely bounce back. That's for sure. How long does it then take? Is a huge question mark. We are probably looking at several years in any case to be able to be even close to where, for example, here in Finland where we were. And that would be probably the case in many places. Depending on the destination and what the destination features are, I think that's also different. You know, probably places which are quite crowded, like urban destinations, will not be the first ones to pick up, you know, as quickly, or places where traditionally overcrowding was like a problem, you know, over tourism was a problem, because probably people they still think about this, you know, the social distancing and the you know, and also if you think of how you would fly to places, if you have to fly, then probably bigger airplanes would not be your first choice. You know, I think we will also see maybe development in this sort of regional airline hubs development, because people could fly from, you know, like fly shorter distances and direct distances, you know, without having to use a hub. I think that might be something that could be like one of the things that is happening, especially, you know, in domestic flying probably will pick up as first. Well. Yeah, and I think one of the big trends that we are hoping to see would be the outcome would be more sustainable traveling, so that really people would start thinking where they go, when they go, why they go, and when they do their choices, they would really use, you know, they would make intellectual choices about, you know, how you know, the means and the accommodation and all these types of things. So I think wherever globally you have sustainable tourism products, they will be the first ones to actually gain from this. And yeah, so sustainable tourism, nature-based tourism, I think people are going to look at places where there's plenty of room. So anything with fresh air and greenery is definitely something that will be in the bucket list of many people. And this is something I have also said here in Finland, that I think that we are quite strong now. Visit Finland is doing a phenomenal job now in introducing sustainable tourism for the whole country, and they have a huge scheme, and they are really looking at being one of the Nordic top destinations in this way. And I think this is something that everybody, you know, all over should pick up. You know, look at these sustainable practices.
Yes, and I think this virus will be there for some time before we really have a vaccine. And at this time,
and maybe the second wave even.
Yes, and at this time, travelers really concerned about the safety and cleanliness qualities of the supply base, the hotels, the airlines, and aviation and ground transportation. I know that suppliers, they are working very hard to set high standards for reducing the risk of coronavirus in their businesses. Now the hotels, the airlines, basically the supplier base that are really embracing sustainable tourism, I think they will be the ones that will stand first, and they will be the ones that will be ahead of their let's say, competitions. And I know that for the business travelers, sustainable tourism is very important. Green hotels, and this will be very important for both lodging and corporate community. So the other thing is, I know that you are doing some work. You are working on the project in your university, and before our live stream, we were talking about the project that you are working on in your university. That has been found first in your university, right? So would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Do you mean the pedagogical approach, or?
Yes,
or the
pedagogical approach.
The online, Well, you were asking when we were sort of emailing and discussing this, and you said you would maybe like to know, like what we are doing.
Yes.
I mean, often when you say you're from Finland, people know about, for example, the PISA results. You know that the teaching is high quality, and why is it in Finland? Many people come here to visit us to
Yes.
see what is done differently. And I think that in the future of tourism education and in all education as such, it should be really based on learning, on the students learning. The maybe old-fashioned way of sitting in lectures is not really about learning, because it's teacher talking and you are passively sitting and listening. So if you think of yourself, where does your learning happen? It happens between your ears and not in the teacher's head, And this is why we have introduced something we call innovation pedagogy, Innopeda. It's even a trademark, and we are actually exporting it a lot from my University of Applied Sciences. For example, Brazil is very keen, and many big universities are now following our lead. And we are really looking at, now you can, by the way, maybe hear a helicopter in the background.
Yes.
There hasn't been much flying around here, but that probably is a coast guard, going somewhere, on the islands area. It was funny, actually. Just the other day, I spotted an airplane, and I realized that I haven't seen an airplane for a very
For a
long
long
time.
time.
Yeah. So we really look at these innovating learning and teaching methods where we try to be cross-disciplinary, where innovation happens. Even if you think of hospitality and tourism, if we always think in the same box, nothing happens. It's when you bring in different disciplines to think about things, that's where the innovation starts happening, and you sort of cross the boundaries, and then you for example, when engineers and tourism and hospitality professionals discuss, they don't always even talk the same language, but all of a sudden they realize that, hey, there's something that we could do in a different way, and this is what we have, for example, done in the cruise industries. Actually behind me, I don't know, you probably don't even see it, but in the background here is a long way there is Meyer yards, where they make the biggest cruise ships in the world. Royal Caribbean, TUI, all these big Carnival cruise liners, they're all done here. And when they started thinking of what is the future of cruise liners, they put together hospitality students from my school, engineering students, design students, all these different students who wouldn't have any mental boundaries, about what's going to happen, and they came up with this really nice and cool concepts that you can actually now see then on the cruise liners. Like, for example, how the future of a cruise cabin will be, because they have been very traditional. Maybe in the future we can see something like this in the hotel rooms or elsewhere. And our curricula are very flexible. That's also something that now that this Corona started was a blessing, because we could immediately switch plans. We don't have to ask the Ministry of Education or anybody else, what can we do? We as academics can decide what is the best thing to do, and that flexibility will then ensure that we can always, be there where needed to be. And we work hands-on projects. That has been a choice we made in the tourism education. That, like I explained to you already earlier, we always work with real tourism companies and develop their problems. That's here in Turku or elsewhere, but mostly here. Yeah.
That's amazing, Susanna. That's amazing. You guys are doing a lot over there for sure. And as you said, innovation is very important for our industry and for everything that is happening in our industry. And if we are being innovative in our industry, we can overcome this kind of crisis easily, right? And also from a supply perspective, as a hotelier, I can say that we also need to be innovative in our operations too, to provide the best guest experience, travel experience to people.
Yeah.
And I think Finland is one of a great example in the world with innovative ideas and all the projects that are happening. And
yeah, I hope at least in some areas, maybe not in all, but some, yeah.
And seeing your background, I was just thinking that maybe we should have another session and you should show us around, specifically in that session. That will be amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's almost distracting me, and I saw
the Baltic Sea.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
you can
Yes.
yeah, you can, if you hop on that sea, you can go from here to New York.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. It's a long way though. Or to Australia. I could go and see Ash. I saw he was joining earlier on. Or I could go to Turkey. There are quite a few Turkish listeners, I think.
Yes, we have quite a few Turkish listeners.
Yeah.
And
I could sail to Istanbul from here.
And we already started talking about the travel trends, and going into the details, we are hearing from the researchers that people don't want to travel to the places that are overcrowded. And do you think this will change the trends? We already started talking about that, and we know that drive to vacations will be the trend for a while. And I think Finland has some of the beautiful places in the world. I think Finland will be a great destination to travel for sure.
Yes, and you're most welcome. And let me know if you come here. You know, we now have 3 SKAL clubs here. There's one here in Turku area, one, of course, in the capital city called Helsinki. And then we also have one in the Lapland, in Levi Resort. It's a ski resort. And now we're working together with Stockholm Club, which is basically Stockholm is just across the sea, 8 hours by ferry from here, and we are now discussing that we would maybe establish a new club into Åland Islands, which is an autonomous area here between the Swedish archipelago and the one which we have over here. Yes, we definitely don't have this over-tourism problem here. I wouldn't say that any of the Nordic countries really has it. You might have occasional rush hours, you know, in especially if the weather is very good, but it's not like if you look at some of the Mediterranean area, for example, Italian Riviera, Rimini, and places like this, you know, or Venice or Barcelona, where really it has become a problem, so that the locals are actually acting, and that is always very negative. I think definitely. I would think that Corona will affect this as well, you know, because like I said earlier on, people, at least for a while, they will avoid these big crowds and really, you know, being in this, you know, lining somewhere, you know, waiting to get in somewhere and you know, really having to push with other people. So that will change. But I also think that destinations are slowly saying no to this kind of development, because what is like one of the big trends which we have been having for a while already is this live like a local. I'm sure you in Canada also discuss about it a lot. And if you think that you want to live like a local, you can't if you're surrounded by a million other tourists. So people then try to seek other places where to go, you know, and it will spread tourism, of course, but also, you know, you should be able to enjoy Barcelona, but in a smaller scale, you know, or be able to go to other urban places without having to be with so many other tourists. And so I'm sure that destinations will have to somehow look at restrictions, maybe. Maybe taxation will be one of the tools, many tools that you can use in this way, but really, you know, to choose, you know, like do you want to be a mass tourism destination, or would you rather have a bit higher quality and then be able to charge a little bit more, you know? And that is, I think, the way we should do it in Finland. I have sometimes said that I would rather see less tourists with more spending power, and more people who understand, you know, and value the destination in a way that they are willing to pay for that quality, and they are willing to enjoy, you know, like it doesn't always have to be 5-star, you know. High quality doesn't mean probably high star. If you come over here, I would not be able to give you a 5-star hotel. First of all, we don't even have star rating in Finland, but our hotels are pretty humble compared to some of the luxury chains in the world. But 5-star doesn't always mean luxury. I think luxury for somebody would be so that they would be able to sit here on a yard like this, going to a real Finnish sauna, enjoying a cold beer afterwards, and just enjoying the birds singing. It's
Exactly.
so it's like high quality and luxury can be so many things, to different people, and it's about setting the right price tag and making sure that everything is nice and smooth, and that's it.
Exactly, and I agree with you, Susanna. You said that it is important to understand the value of that destination, and I agree with you. As a traveler, I'm looking forward to travel to the places and learn about new cultures, learn about how the local people are living, and learn about their food, learn about their history. I think this is very important. And we know that there are some destinations that are overcrowded with tourists, and sometimes you don't get the feeling of local lives or that culture. And I think it is important to keep that momentum, or it's important to show that value to the travelers. And it is also important for travelers to respect that culture and understand that culture, and enjoy what that destination has to offer. So we talked about the students, we talked about the challenges that they are having right now in terms of internship opportunities, practicum placement. And unemployment rate is around 15% in Canada, Susanna, and I'm sure it is also high right now in other destinations too. So from a tourism professional perspective, what is your view on labor for post-pandemic? What do you what do you advise to your students? I know they are having challenges right now.
They definitely are. I just earlier this afternoon I received an email from one of my senior students who was very, very disappointed because her internship was cancelled, obviously because of Corona, and she wasn't the only one. I do have other ones as well. Of course, Finland started opening, and I think this is the case in many European destinations, that we are now slowly opening the tourism again. For us, it meant that on Monday, the restaurants were actually able to open, and so hospitality people like waiters and chefs, and they are now allowed to go back to work, but there are quite a heavy restrictions still, when it comes to customer. How many seats can be covered, and terraces are open, but inside it's more strict. But I think that companies in overall need to be able to pick up quite quickly. So I think labor is needed very soon, because now, like I said, it's summer season. At least here in Europe, summer season is slowly starting here in the northern parts. It's already on basically, and people have been sitting at their homes for 3 months. Of course, there are quite a few people who have been laid off or are unemployed, so their spending power is non-existing almost. But there are also people who have been able to work online, and they have no problems financially, and basically they have been sort of non-spending. They have been just sitting home. Okay, they have been maybe ordering online things, but most people are actually have been saving money. During these three months, there's only a limited things that you can buy. You can't buy online all the time. And we are hoping here, for example, that the 5 billions or so, which we normally use for traveling abroad, or that is actually 9, but the difference between domestic expenditure and exports is approximately 5. We say milliards, so billions in US, but I don't think that money will be spent in domestic traveling, because but some of it will be, and I think the governments should really now send a message out to the normal, like people who are not in the industry, that please use your domestic services at least, go and visit places where you haven't been before, use the local restaurants and even a staycation, just stay in a nice hotel down the road for a change, this type of message should be sent out so that people would use their holiday times and money for this, and if it's possible, then you can also travel abroad. I know that we are slowly opening some corridors. There are countries which have a similar situation after Corona. So, for example, we are opening up with Estonia and some other close neighboring countries. Sweden is a different case because Sweden has been a completely different in a different game altogether. So we probably will still keep a bit of a distance with the Swedes, but otherwise, I think in the Nordic and in the Central European countries, traveling slowly is opening. And so I would encourage people also to travel and use their brain, I mean, keep your distance, be hygienic, and travel. So labor is definitely needed. And I think that companies will have to be, like on a standby to be able to quickly recruit people to come back, because, 3 months, like you said, 100 days at home, and you really feel like going out somewhere,
Yes.
so there is this enthusiasm, like I actually went out yesterday with my best friend. I haven't seen her for many weeks. We saw probably when Corona started, and she works in the healthcare, so she has and in the very front line of the healthcare management, so I haven't seen her. And on Monday, the restaurants opened. So yesterday we went out and sat on a terrace and enjoyed really nice rosé wine and really good food. And it felt absolutely fabulous. I don't know when was the last time I have actually enjoyed being in a restaurant, that
Yes,
feeling that you are with a friend, you can meet face to face, and you have this really good food and drink, and you can just enjoy the outdoors. That was fantastic, and I really hope that this message is being sent from the industry and from the governments, that people should really, this is not the time to sit on your money. This is the time when you have to go out there and spend it wisely on your local services.
Exactly. And I think this is very important for the economy, as you said, Susanna.
Yeah.
And we can still travel, and we can still being aware of what's happening around us and taking necessarily precautions, and at the same time enjoy our travels. And there are lots of destinations that we can drive to, we can fly to, and there are different destinations that they have great things to offer. And I think this could be an opportunity for some of the destinations that maybe were not getting a lot of interest before, but they might get interest after all of this. And I am also the same. I'm a traveler, and I have been staying home for some quiet time, and I'm really looking forward to travel again soon. And it's funny how we appreciate the things that maybe we were not appreciating before, because for us it was usual. For instance, the last time I got a haircut after a long time, and I was the happiest person after getting the haircut, and I was like, oh my God, that's funny. And in terms of students, I think this is a great time for them to focus on their personal development. And you were talking about the importance of online education. And I think there are lots of opportunities for students. There are lots of webinars. There are lots of free courses online that they can get a certification and they can learn new skills. I think they can use this time as an opportunity for their personal development.
Yeah, they can, yes.
So
and we are also offering online courses to unemployed people now free of charge, for example, because we want to make sure that people are sort of, developing themselves, and it's our social responsibility also as a university to be in the front line to offer these types of services.
Exactly. And I think as travel and tourism professionals, our industry is also considered as essential services. I think we also have frontline workers in the hotels, in the airlines, in the travel agencies.
Yeah.
And also I would like to thank, of course, our health care professionals for their dedication and hard work. Next year, of
I
course.
really hope to be there. Yeah.
So what is your favorite place that you have traveled so far? I know that you have done a lot of traveling.
I have traveled more than I dare to think, because after my presidential year, I actually became very conscious about having to fly so much, and I felt really bad. So I was very happy last year not to travel anywhere. I was mostly put still. I didn't go anywhere. My favorite place, maybe like a dream destination, has been Maldives. So Maldives, but that was a long time ago. There are quite a few places, but I love warm environments. Wherever there is a beach and sunshine, that is my place, or then it has to be a place with a lot of snow and a nice skiing opportunity.
Snow and also ski opportunities. So you have been a SKAL president, world SKAL president, Susanna, and I know that you have done such a great job, and I was one of the colleagues that was following you all the time. And so I would like to ask you, how does it feel like to be a world SKAL president?
Well, now former.
Former,
or as I think the official one is past president, but then one of the past presidents, I believe it's Nick from Croatia, who always corrects us and says we are not past yet, we are former presidents. It was a year to remember. It's exciting to be able to see so many SKAL members around the world and talk to people and listen to the industry and whatever. But it's hard work as well. The years sort of progressing into the position, you have to work hard. At least that's how I always feel, that it's work, that you deserve it because you work hard. It's not, a presidential position should not be about entitlement, that because you have been a member for 20 years or whatever, you'll be a president. That's not how it should be. I think these people who come to these board positions, they of course have this spirit of an energy of doing things and developing SKAL. And I think I was in that. I happened to be one of those presidents in a phase where many changes were taking place. So it was not an easy year at all. And sometimes I really felt that it was a bit too much as well. But I'm a strong person, and so I decided that I will make it. And I'm very happy looking back that we did make many changes, some really tragic ones as well, even concerning people, but I think we have made the right choices. And looking at SKAL, going digital is the only way really forward, as well as being online of face to face. We should never forget about that aspect as well. And president, of course, I hope Peter still gets to meet the colleagues as well, because for him this has been a hard year as a president, completely online. And as for the whole board, of course, I mean, they are all there working extremely hard. I believe they have a meeting nowadays almost every second week, or if not every week almost. So they are really working hard, and the CEO as well, and the girls in the office, although they are at home. So they are really working hard. But being digital is very important. But we need to have this. This is a human industry, so we also need to be able to meet. And I hope it's going to be sooner rather than later,
I hope that too. And we want connection, and I'm positive that travel will come back soon. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Susanna, for your support to young professionals. And
You're welcome.
I had the pleasure of working with you on some of the projects, and I know that you are such a great supporter of young professionals. So, lastly, what is your message to our industry before we go?
Let's put it this for the whole industry, I would say, and those who have been in the industry for long, they know it. We have always had our ups and downs. I'm sure in the short sort of history of tourism and hospitality, this has been the worst crisis, because it has been so global. But I know that we will survive. We are a very hard industry, but we are an industry that this world cannot live without.
Yes.
And hospitality and tourism will definitely pick up again. And I hope we have learned a lesson as well from Mother Earth concerning how the future should be, so that maybe we are looking at more sustainable hospitality and tourism industry, and technology that will help us in the future, that will solve some of the problems that tourism is causing. And I would still say that we have a bright future ahead of us.
Thank you, Susanna. And I would like to take the questions from the audience. If there are any questions before we go, please send them to our way. I think we have 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Can you actually see how many people have been following us? Because I can see some people joining, but I will not be able to see.
Yes, I can see the number of people that are watching us right now, Susanna. Okay, perfect.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Yeah. I think we got one question. So I'm just going to read you the question. Which skills or knowledge do you think we should aim to acquire or strengthen by studying or taking courses while we are not working? So the question is about which skills and knowledge do you think they should focus on while they are not working?
The most important skills, I think, for any student and also people in overall, first of all, you need to be able you need to know where to find information. So information seeking skills are extremely important, because there's plenty of information available, but the right information is crucial.
Exactly.
And then the second thing, with this information, you need to be very critical. So critical thinking. So that is something that you need to build in yourself. You know, how you look at this information that is being provided from so many different sources, and critically reflect and use your own intellectual to think what is correct and what is incorrect, because there's so much bad stuff over there, and people who are spreading false information. So this I think is a crucial to be able to find correct information and analyze it and critically think about the information.
And I agree with you, Susanna.
I don't know if they are happy now. There's a mosquito who is bothering me. I don't know if they are happy with my answer. Of course, you always have these skills, like managerial skills and leadership skills and revenue management skills and all these types of, that you can. But I think that once you know where you find correct information and you know how to apply it, then you are strong.
I think this is a great point. So thank you for that. And just to add on your note, that I think this is also important, because to know where to access the right information and also the right people is crucial. And this will give them an opportunity to connect with the right people. And this goes to the point where the networking is important, and it's all connected. And I think this is very important.
Yeah.
I think we don't have any other questions. Thank you for the question. That was a great question. So Susanna, yes, okay. I can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing your valuable insights with us today. And it was an honor to have you in our tourism talks. It was an honor
to be with you.
It is my pleasure. And thank you again once for joining us.
Thank you.
And stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you everybody who is on the other side, which I don't know who they are, but it was great that somebody at least took the time to listen to us chatting here.
I'm sure many people will be listening us once I post it on social media. Thank you, Susanna.
Yeah, okay.
Have a
You're
great day.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right.